Welcome back again to another episode of Big Red's Isopods. This week we're going to be taking a look at the Isopod room, kind of going over some new things, some updates about different things. So before further ado, let's get into it. One of the things I definitely wanted to talk to you guys about is how my zebra culture is coming back. I know a couple weeks back or a couple months back I talked about how my zebra culture, I talked about how my zebra culture was not doing the best. They've kind of come back in numbers now, which is pretty awesome. So I'm really happy about that. They seem to be doing real well, seem to be fairly healthy. Numbers are getting way back up there. As you can see, they're getting back up to where they were before. But overall, they seem to be doing great. Another culture I wanted to talk to you guys about and kind of show you is my Armadillium. Punta Cana, I do believe these are called. I'm going to give them a light spritz here because I see that there's a lot of little monkai just down there. I don't really want them to be swept away. So you can see this is a relatively small isopod. You can tell by how small those monkai are right there. There's an adult hiding down in there. There's another adult over here. We're just gonna take a quick peek under here. Oh yeah. So their numbers have gone way up. Just a couple months back when I first got these guys, I think I only had 6 or 7. Oh my goodness, look at how tiny their monkai are. 6 or 7 in the culture I originally bought. And as you can see, after a while of just leaving them alone, they've kind of grown in numbers and they're doing fantastic. This here, I'm going to show you guys, might be a little bit not so great, but I can let you know that my magic potions are starting to come back in numbers. There's quite a few that are alive in here now. So really the key to getting them to come back after some sort of sickness has done them in quite a bit is to just separate them from the rest of your cultures and just leave them alone. Just like the other isopods, they seem to do best when you're not messing around with them too much, and that's what I've kind of done here. So they're doing better as well. They still have a lot of carcasses around on the outside here, which I could remove, but I'm just going to leave them for now. They are probably just calcium at this point. I think the disease is pretty much gone from this container, but I don't want to mess around with it too much. Even picking up that bark, I was going to take a look anyway. I just figured I'd show you guys as well. Now, I don't think I've shown you guys these since I've done the container swap, but my Aficionatus are just booming. For some reason, they really enjoy sitting on top of the bark over here. Now, I'm not too sure if that's because they want to get rid of the substrate, away from the substrate or what. But I can let you know that they are thriving now that they're in this bigger container. I am going to add some more leaf litter to this container here, just to make sure that they have lots of leaves that they can hide in and whatnot. But they're going to just continue to thrive in this container, and I definitely know that they're going to be climbing up on top of here. Not too sure why they want to get up high, but they seem to love it. So that's what I let them do. Give them a little bit of fish food in here just to make sure that they're satisfied, and they'll do great for another week. Now, I'm not going to show all these containers, but I will show you that the powder blues still have dwarf whites in the containers. It's quite obvious that there's a lot of dwarf whites in here, but I've noticed since I've added heat to one side of the container, it seems to have dried up the one side. And even in the substrate down here, I don't see that many dwarf whites. They've kind of vacated this entire side, allowing the Prunatus to kind of have some space for the babies. It doesn't seem until just about here where the dwarf whites can be found. If we take a look in the soil, there's some there as well. So it just seems to be the dry spot. You can see there's Prunatus babies all over the place running around in this dry area in the soil and whatnot. So it's kind of giving them a little bit of pushback against the Dwarf Whites. Now, I haven't been adding moisture over here. What's been happening is, there's been lots of condensation on the top of the lid, as you can see here. That's kind of just kept this side moist. And I want to see how far I can push these guys back. And then maybe I'll pop them outside so that they can get cold or whatnot. And I'm not too sure. All I know is that I've tried to put them out in the cold, and they seem to just continue to thrive. And anywhere I pick up any dirt in here, as you can clearly see, is just full of Dwarf Whites. There we go. Last Isopod enclosure I'm going to show you guys here. I'm not going to really rummage through here, but as you can see, it's just been 1 week since I rehomed these guys, and they're doing fantastic. They're all just loving their new enclosure, hiding underneath the moisture side, all over the enclosure. Just 1 week after rehoming them, they're doing great. I'm not going to rummage around in here because it is brand new. All I'm going to do is give them a little bit of water, and then that's it. Close it back up for a week. I could give them some protein if I wanted to, but since they got all that new soil in there and they're trying to get used to a new home, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to leave them as is and leave them alone for at least another week or two before I start feeding them. One other new thing I wanted to show you guys is this week I actually set up a cricket enclosure for feeding my tree frogs. And the one thing I did a little bit different is I actually added some soil to the bottom. There's actually some springtails in here as well, and some Dwarf Whites. Now I know you don't usually put soil in the bottom, but I wanted to give it a shot and kind of put the springtails in here. I don't think the Dwarf Whites are really going to do anything, but I'm hoping that the springtails help with everything. The crickets seem to be doing great. They seem to be healthy, breeding lots, and relatively having a grand old time, I guess. But yeah, it seems to be working so far. I'll give you guys updates with that. And I can show you guys my frogs sometime if you really want to see that. I know some people do, but they're nocturnal, so I kind of have to wait till night to show you guys that. So if enough of you guys show interest, I'll figure out some way to record that for you. Other than that, guys, the only new things that have really been going on with the Isopod room is just my fish tanks, which I don't know if you guys really care about or want to see. I'll leave a little bit of a video at the end, but I did a cleanup with the fish tanks, and they seem to be doing a lot better. I felt like they had a little bit too much plants going on and not enough fresh water, so I did a real big water change, and I cut back some of the plants that I thought were kind of causing some issues, and everything seems to be thriving again, so I'm real happy about that. The frogs are doing great as well, so I know some of you guys want to see the frogs, but they're nocturnal, and I haven't quite figured out a way to kind of record them properly yet, but if enough of you guys show interest, then I'll for sure give it a shot. Anyway, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys all again next week. All right, bye.